evening, when the lamp is lit, around the fire my parents sit. They sit at home and talk and sing, and do not play at anything. Now, with my little gun, I crawl, all in the dark, along the wall, and follow round the forest track, away behind the sofa back. There, in the night, where no one can spy, all in my hunter's camp I lie, and play at books that I have read, till it is time to go to bed. These are the hills, these are the woods, these are my starry solitudes, and there the river, by whose brink the roaring lions come to drink. I see the others far away, as if in a firelit camp they lay, and I, like to an Indian scout, around their party prowled about. So, when my nurse comes in for me, home I return across the sea, and go to bed with backward looks at my dear land of storybooks.
Poetry sounds, beats, thrums. It loves to be read out loud. It comes through the ear and goes out through the sight. It has started to sound from mouth to mouth and to move the bodies of those who pronounce it thousands of years ago. And since then, it has changed and walked along the pace of humankind. As a poem collector, I wanted to make a selection for children and young people that would harmonize in a different way, without rhyme. I found a guide in some questions. Who were the first ones to dare to break the traditional children's poetry form by taking away the rhyme and the metrics of it? Who continued this audacity and imagined childhoods that sounded different? Who continues to do so? Can we call children poetry only what is specifically written for children? In this book, we gather 36 Ibero-American poets of 10 countries with a diverse imaginary. The oldest from 1920. The newest was born with the book last year. So we are celebrating 100 years of poetry that take into account the singularity and many different ways to be a kid. Revelación. La noche estaba quieta, prendida las veletas de las torres, y la calle estaba muda, sola. Un caballo negro la cruzó galopando. Yo no sabía que la calle era de cristal.
El leopardo. El leopardo se refugia en la noche de las grandes hojas que brillan como fuentes. Hunde en sus huellas escarabajos dormidos. Da vueltas en su furor oscuro que tiene lumbre en los ojos. En torno suyo la sombra huele a vegetales de menta. Dispersa luciérnagas entre las lianas. Los cazadores toman su piel y la tienden al viento como una constelación.
Selva. He aquí una palabra húmeda, verde, fresca, rumorosa, profunda. Cuando uno la dice, tiene enseguida la sensación del bosque todo afelpado de musgos, runruneante de píos y de roces, lleno de los quitasoles apretados y movibles de las copas de los árboles, bajo las cuales las siestas ardientes son tan dulces y donde es tan grato tenderse a soñar. Selva. Oh, Dios mío, qué palabra tan alegre y tan fresca. Qué palabra para mí tan llena de reminiscencias. Huele a eucaliptos, a álamos, a sauces, a grama. Suena a viento, a agua que corre, a pájaros que cantan y pían, a roce de insectos y croar de sapitos verdes. Evoca redondeles de sol sobre la tierra, frutas silvestres de una dulzura áspera, caravanas de hormigas rojas cargadas de hojitas tiernas, penumbra verdosa y fresca, soledad. Juana de Ibarburu.
Los árboles no hablan, ni ríen, ni juegan como niños. Los árboles están escondidos detrás de sus hojas, pensando. ¿Qué piensan los árboles? Piensan grandes sombras en el suelo. Alicia Morel.
Сегодня дождь идет с утра. Какой чудесный день! Ура! Надену плащик-дождевик, возьму любимый грузовик, пойду пройдусь немножко в резиновых сапожках. Моя исполнилась мечта. И грязь, и лужи. Красота!
Hello, my name is Joseph COELHO, author of The Girl Who Became a Tree, a verse novel, a story told in poems, illustrated by the wonderful Kate Milner. The story is about Daphne, a teenager who is grieving the recent loss of her father, who was a tree surgeon. She's been spending a lot of time in her local library, pushing away friends and family. She has a message on her phone, the last message left for her by her father, a message that is very dear to her. So when her phone goes missing in the library, she is distraught. But the librarian tells her, a creature took your phone. And this leads her onto a trail into a deep, dark forest hidden in her library, where a creature called Hawk is conspiring to transform her into a tree. I'm going to read you a few extracts from the book. The setting is a library, based on a library that I grew up in when I was a kid. The library. Its original use overgrown in history, the grey blockwork a barricade of teeth. The building is round, wooden shelves line its rotundity like ribs inside a vast torso. It is a library, but also it is alive. It breathes, it is a wood, it is a forest. Its shelves have been wrestled from every type of tree to house these books. Black ebony entombs the horror. Bright pine hugs the poems. Black-brown cedar wraps the mysteries as broad oak clasps the histories. The tables were hacked from Burmese teak to withstand all scratching. It is a library, but also not. A library of knots. Its heart always a murmur, the rustling of pages could be mistaken for leaves. Whenever Daphne enters after school, she takes 3 deep breaths of the library's woody scent, listens for its pulse, closes her eyes and sees the forest that's just a page turn away. So being a story about a girl called Daphne who is almost transformed into a tree, I felt that I needed to incorporate the Greek myth, the original myth of Daphne, who is chased by Apollo and begs her father, the river god Peneus, to transform her into a tree. So there are some poems in this book that tell that myth. This poem is called A Tip of Lead. A tip of lead in the heart spreads, pencils down the veins, weights the guts with the fear of change. Apollo ran at Daphne, gold sparks in his eyes, his paint explosion trousers a rainbow blur. The lead in Daphne's eyes wanted only grey. She fled like prey. Apollo sped towards Daphne, gold dripping from his mouth, lyre strumming in hand, a stringed cacophony. The lead in Daphne's ears wanted a molten hush. She pushed through her rush. Apollo flung himself at Daphne, gold, sweat dripping, his stethoscope threatening to diagnose. The lead in Daphne's blood wanted no healing. She ran to her father, river, appealing, take my sheen from his eyes. Turn my form into wood. I have no need for colour, for music or science. I want nothing of change. Hear my defiance. I wish to be rooted, to be truncated, laurelled and lopped. I wish never to grow. I want everything to stop, to stay, to always be the same. My father's river daughter, forever stuck by his waters.
En la cápsula del tiempo. En la mañana de este mes de enero, Viene mi nieta a visitarme. Tiene 3 años esta niña. Juntamos huevos en el gallinero, después que canta la gallina, les damos de comer a los conejos, buscamos tomates en la huerta, solo los rojos o pintones. Encontramos una calabaza pequeña y otra grande. Esta es la madre, dice. Cocinamos después para el abuelo y en la tarde viajamos en un barco de piratas. Ha encontrado un tubo de cartón y me pide que llame a los marinos. Sos pirata de mi barco, dice, y yo soy la capitana. Yo grito a estribor, mis marineros, y al servicio de usted, mi capitana.
Come un gatto acciambellato sul divano, coda ferma, bocca chiusa, solo lunghe occhiate attorno e niente, niente fusa. Non è perdere tempo, la musica, ma un'acqua da bere, da nuotare. La testa sotto, il resto scompare. A volte è quanto basta, è avere un fiume in tasca.
Era tutto bianco e lento, io guardavo e guardavo. È stato un momento, ma ho sentito davvero nevicare anche dentro.
Yeux ronds, bouche en haut, l'enfant étonné regarde. Et le ballon, ballotté par le vent, emporte en riant le regard étonné de l'enfant.
Здравствуйте, дорогие друзья! Меня зовут Игорь Жуков. Я детский поэт и сказочник. Я хочу прочитать вам в честь праздника свое стихотворение. «Черная охотница». В одну из пасмурных ночей, вся в черное одета, опять выходит на людей охотиться котлета. Она идет с ружьем в руке, уже добыча близко, а на котлетном поводке охотничья сосиска. Котлета хищно щурит глаз напротив ресторана, ей позавидует сейчас охотница Диана. Очередного толстяка котлета настигает, его хватает за бока и под ноги стреляет, а после отпускает. И прочь толстяк бежит во тьму от страха и позора. Котлета вслед кричит ему: «Знай наших ты, обжора! Знай наших ты, котлетоед, с горчичной душою! Тебе привет от всех котлет, погубленных тобою!» В одну из пасмурных ночей, вся в черное одета, опять выходит на людей охотиться котлета.
When Nosy Crow asked me to compile this anthology, I was filled with a lot of very mixed emotions. Delight at doing such a wonderful collection, but also some anxiety about finding enough animals around the world. I didn't want all the obvious ones. There are lots of poems about kangaroos and elephants, but I wanted poems as well about pangolins and anteaters. And as a result, 365 poems, 366 actually. It's a very, very hefty book, and gloriously illustrated by Britta TECKENTRUP. I think she's made it a thing of great beauty. And I would like to read you a poem or two from the book. The first one is The Doves of Damascus by Ftun Abu Kerech. I lost my country and everything I had before, and now I cannot remember for sure the soft of the snow in my country. I cannot remember the feel of the damp air in summer. Sometimes I think I remember the smell of jasmine as I walk down the street, and sometimes autumn with its orange and scarlet leaves flying in the high Damascus sky. And I'm sure I remember my grandmother's roof garden, its vines, its sweet red grapes, the mint she grew in crates for tea. I remember the birds, the doves of Damascus. I remember how they scattered. I remember trying to catch them. This one is called Crab Dance, and it's by Grace Nichols. Play moonlight, and the red crabs dance their scuttlefoot dance on the mud-packed beach. Play moonlight, and the red crabs dance their sideways dance to the soft sea beat. Play moonlight, and the red crabs dance their bulb-eyed dance, their last crab dance.
Bologna, Torre Garisenda. Tutti che ammirano lei, la più bella, alta, elegante, invidiabile e snella. Io non ricevo nessun complimento, mai una lode, un gentile commento. Ora mi guardano con compassione, ora mi chiamano quel mozzicone, forse perché sono appena più storta, forse perché sono appena più corta. Ma si dovrebbe sapere che Dante, che fu un poeta sapiente e sognante, scrisse di me nel suo grande poema, non della torre che svetta suprema. Certo, non disse che sono stupenda, ma nominò solo la Garisenda. Questo dovrebbe capire la gente, che mia sorella varrebbe un bel niente se non ci fossi qui sotto io stessa a fare coppia con la principessa. Chi non mi stima, non tiene cervello, è solo un povero e sciocco asinello.
Alicia. De todos los regalos que le han dado este cumpleaños, prefiere los globos, con los que han adornado la casa para la fiesta. Porque si vuelan, si abre la ventana y los echa a volar, será como hacerle un regalo al viento. Porque el viento también debe tener un día de cumpleaños. Aunque no lo sepamos, debe tener. Este es un poema del libro Niños, dedicado a los 34 niños ejecutados o detenidos desaparecidos durante la dictadura chilena. Que es un libro que está dedicado también a todos los niños que en este mismo momento o durante la historia han sufrido la violencia política. ¿Por qué hacer un libro como este? Bueno, con la esperanza de que cuando sean los niños que lean o que conozcan esta historia, tomen las decisiones en el futuro, tomen decisiones diferentes y construyan un mundo más pacífico que el que hemos construido nosotros. Un mundo en que este tipo de hechos no se repitan.
Ērika Bērziņa mammas dzejoļi. Pasaka par vecmāmiņu. Vecmāmiņa nemaz nezināja, ka dzīvo pasakā. Viņa izcepa pīrādziņus, kotletītes un ābolu plātsmaizi. Uzvārīja frikadeļu zupu, kartupeļus un melleņu ķīseli. Viņa gaidīja ciemos mazbērnus un nemaz nejutās savārgusi vai slima, lai gulētu gultā. Varbūt tikai mazliet sagurusi no stāvēšanas pie plīts. Vecmāmiņa nedzīvoja meža vidū, bet netālu no Daugavas stadiona, uz kurieni viņa no rītiem devās skriet. Nu, kur tie mazbērni palikuši? Varbūt sastrēgumā vai mašīnai riepa pušu? Vilks viņu zina. Nu, vilks patiešām to zina.
Hello, my name's Alessandro Riccioni, and I happen to write this book. It's a book of rhymes, and the title, it's a sort of a word game. It plays with words, which is phenomenale. In English is phenomenal, and it's also about meteorological phenomenon and something that might inspire being brave, being excellent, being phenomenal, and just a fact. It's published by the Lapis Edizione, a publishing company from Rome, and it's been wonderfully illustrated by Vittoria Facchini, which is a very popular Italian artist, and not only for books for kids. And I would like to read you just like 2 or 3 of these rhymes, and I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me. Okay, you ready? It's about the lightning, il fulmine. Ma quello che fa? Cammina zigzag, che buffa radice, che ramo felice, e poi c'è chi dice è un sentiero di luce. Io non ci credo finché non lo vedo, ma quando mi appare sono pronto a scappare e scalpo veloce come un fulmine luce. Arcobaleno, because after all the meteorological phenomenon, storms and snow and rain, that comes out the rainbow. Passa la pioggia, ma non col treno. Fa un grande balzo l'arcobaleno.
Hola, soy Jorge Luján y este es mi poema. Me gustaría toparme con una palabra perdida, ignorada de por vida por las cabezas pensantes. Querría tomarla de la mano, llevarla ahora mismo a pasear por el carrusel de mi oreja y preguntarle a boca de jarro, ¿cómo te llamas? No dudo que se sentiría contenta y con tentaciones de todo tipo, como patearme el tímpano. Y seguro me respondería como me respondió hace apenas un instante. Te lo digo, si prometes no decírselo a nadie. Y me lo dijo.
真皮，袂记你经过偌济秋冬。阮才会当来甲遮，斟酌看到你的耳甲喙， 鼻仔甲目睭。你嘛点点看着阮，阮想要互你看着我的心腹，搁有坦白的灵魂。阮的目屎一点一滴，大海拢想要了解。月娘为着一个好对象，找伊消散1500万，前步对着后步行，日日夜夜。阮学因有憨人的理想，只是阮比谁搁较知影大海心内的咸正。只要月娘半暝的等候，头前的人就会跟咧后壁走。用你讲过的言语，每一世人的名字，变做会唱歌的长头针。乌色的新衫着旧色水，踏伫你的身躯，不管有介意无介意，先莫讲出嘴。脚面顶有你的脚印，肩胛头是手指，风声带来消息。不管何时，你拢一个人来来去去，也袂笑，阮着心欢喜。看起来平静无害，看起来永远久长。空虚的时间看会清，看袂破心情。嘛毋知，亲像阮这款的存在，敢会替时行？我的皮肉，我的气汗，我的神经丛，我的内脏，我的血水，我的新湿气，我的眼神、声喉、姿势、脚印、思想、记忆、感受、愿望、喘气、表情、知识、烦恼，捧一点点仔光，浸入我，变成你。准备，若毋是你爱我，我嘛爱你。批写到这，煞想着袂记你介绍阮家己。我较早是一丛树仔，即马是一本册，互阮对你去，互阮踮伫你的身躯边，住伫你的心内面。